How's everyone doing today?
Fabulous. Everyone looks fabulous.
Best Wednesday ever.
Yes, more
Hello,
Amazing.
people are
everyone.
pouring in. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Claudia.
Welcome.
Hi, Christine.
Welcome.
See Jennifer. Oh, and Julianne Averill. So good to see you again. You were at Men's Walk at JPM. And Christine Young. Oh my gosh, so many great
Uh,
people. And Ming Shi. I would love to know where everyone's calling in from. Please feel free to throw it in the chat.
Mm.
and Ruby's here. Hi, Ruby. And Tara. Welcome.
Vegas, Seattle. Oh my goodness.
This is so great. We're gonna wait a few minutes and let everybody join in, and we'll start in a few minutes.
Well, I love the plant game going on in people's backgrounds. Some that are
Alejandra is
making
a real one,
it
and yours is a real one, Joan.
is. Alejandro, what kind is yours?
It's just a pothos. Her name is La Greñuda, the crazy haired one. So she goes all
Mm.
the way to the floor.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
That is amazing. Mine are fake. I made them using AI and made a Zoom background out of them. So little to no watering, which is great. Oh,
Mhm.
we've got Rachel from the Bay Area and Tara Bateman from North Carolina. Wow, we've got people from everywhere, from Philly. This is
Yay.
fantastic.
Finally, a virtual event. I love it.
Yes.
I'm so happy.
Made just for you, Summer, because I know you always have so much FOMO. You're
I
in
do.
California, but far away in California.
Yes. It's a big state.
Hi, Rachel. We see you in the chat. Thank you for joining.
Arizona, LA. Look at that. Arkansas. Wonderful. Chicago in the house. Love it.
Welcome, everyone. You're going to start in a few minutes.
Ooh, good question.
Ooh. Anyone outside the US? Asked Liberty. Good
Mm.
question. I saw someone with a German like .de address sign up. So we'll see, but it's pretty late there, so maybe
Very
they're hoping for the recording.
my.
Singapore, somebody, Christine Young, she says currently in
Wow.
Singapore.
Ooh,
That
Wow.
yay. There's
is
Canada.
awesome.
Canada.
Woo!
Lisa, you
Hi,
took it
Lisa.
international and Singapore. Oh my gosh. Christine, you have the best like travel life. I just kind of want to tag along with you wherever you're going next.
Yes,
Oh,
please feel free to share your LinkedIn and connect with one another.
and then Cash Toronto, I see the Canadians, the Canucks in the house.
Mm.
All right, Summer, I want to hand it over to you, our moderator
Oh
extraordinaire. We'll
boy.
do that in a second.
Yes.
Ray, can you pull
That's
up our
okay.
slides?
Absolutely. Can everybody see my slides?
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming to our global launch event. This is Women XAI, and we're here to give you a platform, open networks, and accelerate your success. And we are so lucky to have this lineup of these amazing women here to share their expertise with us. Summer is the moderator extraordinaire for the day. For this hour, she is the host, she is the person keeping us on track, and we've got a great lineup of 6 speakers today.
Wonderful.
Ray, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about us?
Yeah, thank you so much, Jenny. And again, thank you everyone for joining us today. And I have the pleasure of sharing our story with you all. So our story is that me and Jenny, met in 2018 at a Y Combinator startup called Meta. And that was before Facebook Meta. It was a different startup, AR initiative called Meta. And that's where we met and our journey began. So my name is Reut Lazo, and I specialize in cutting edge technology and product management. and I'm implementing AI solution currently in healthcare, while Jenny drive B2C revenue and growth. And together we led 3 successful venture right now, and Women X AI is our 4th collaboration. Driven by communicating and elevating women in the AI to push technology boundaries and making sure everybody's voices is being heard and inclusivity.
All right, let's pass it over to Summer.
Oh boy, hello. Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here. This is so fun because I have been for months having FOMO at all the Bay Area events with the dogs and the boba and the tech walks. And finally, we get a virtual event. And when we had our prep call, it was so inspiring to see the voices in the room. There's truly something for everyone in this group. Wherever you are in your AI journey, in your career, or on the planet now, there's something here for you. So just a couple of quick housekeeping notes. Each leader has 5 minutes to present. We're not going to pull them off the stage with that Bugs Bunny hook, but we have a lot to cover, so it's going to be 5 minutes. Scan the QR code that you see there. That will allow you to connect and continue the conversation off this webinar on LinkedIn. You're going to get 2 minutes to ask questions. So find the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen and use that. The Q&A button will allow me to ask a question out loud and have it read to the rest of the group. And it will also allow that leader to monitor the Q&A and continue to ask your questions after their time is up. And enough housekeeping. Let's get to it. We have a lot of good stuff to get to today.
And it's me, I think.
Without further ado, let's welcome Dr. Joan Palmater-Bajorek, best-selling author. Take it away.
Thank you so much. Well, delighted to be with you all and in community with you all. Woohoo. Greetings from Seattle. It is actually a cloudy, kind of mild day over here. I get to kick this off, which is wild to me, by talking to you about kind of AI's role in changing our society. I am a data and AI builder. I have a master's in linguistics and I have a PhD in conversational AI and multimodal systems. And I had the delightful experience to have many cool jobs in AI, but also be into AI layoffs. Woohoo! If anyone's seen those in the news, if anyone wants to chat in the chat of being laid off, it's really quite common here in Seattle. But I think we can't underestimate how AI changes the future of work, changes the shape of our teams, changes headcount, volatility, etc. And that's a lot. I still do awesome AI builds, but a lot of the work that I do to give back to my community is how to help people future-proof careers and income. If I could just move to the next slide, please. The first time I was laid off was so public, it was featured in NPR. Yikes. They featured how I wanted to build my own tech company and now just wanted to pay my rent. Oof. This is really not fun. This is real. This is me hiking. But I think it's really interesting to see how when in the United States, our employment is connected directly to our money as maybe the only income stream that we have, as well as our healthcare. Like you lose your employment and you can feel like you fall out of the sky because we have such little safety net here in the United States. So if that resonates with you, you are not alone. Harvard Business Review says that 50% of US adults are experiencing what's called layoff anxiety. And I would say here, maybe in Seattle, it's like 80% layoff anxiety. My friends at Meta are scared. People at Starbucks, have you seen that in the news? Anyway, it's no real surprise, but I'm just telling you, instead of oh, I got recommendations for you, I've actually lived this. So, woohoo! Really fun way to start off this Ignite Talks. But if you could move to the next slide, please. I have been very resilient through this time and built up 22 income streams. I've bought real estate. I have my own company now. I published a book. I got a book deal with Wiley, which has been really exciting, because a lot of people are like, Joan, how did you do it? Or like, wow, you keep climbing despite these huge volatile times. And so this book really is giving back to people like you, all about future-proofing your finances and your career. So boring and important stuff like personal branding and networking, which, hey, you came to this webinar. So like you're already doing that community networking thing. So make sure to follow up with people, make sure to, anyway, nuts and bolts of things that I didn't learn in school, as far as personal branding and networking, but really important. And my book also does a lot of real talk about money stuff that I was not taught as a kid. If It was very taboo for me to talk about money at home, and therefore there's a lot of gaps in my financial education, despite being in private school and public school. And you just heard I have a PhD. So how many years was I in school, and didn't get that education? So um, it's kind of like if the book of the material that I wish I'd had, there are templates, tons of research. I will stop pitching in my book, but truly, if I had had this in my early 20s, I would be way more stable than I even am and way wealthier. Yeah, so I would be happy to take any of your questions. I'm not, my lawyer would love me to say, I'm not a, certified financial planner. Personal finance is personal, but if you want some real talk, in my book, I have my 22 income streams all laid out, and recommendations of like investing 101, if that's not something that you were taught, back in the day. With my last 38 seconds, if you would advance to the next slide, please. My team, so I often get like, I'm an AI influencer. I got a lot of people on LinkedIn, so join me there. Um, my team has made a personal roadmap quiz because so many people come to my content like, oh my gosh, career stuff, money stuff. Like, I have a podcast all about technical builders, and people are like, where do I even begin? So this is the quiz that we've built for people. Your personal AI roadmap quiz. You can scan the barcode right here, or yourairoadmap.com/me. And it goes directly to taking you into a quiz to ask like, what are the top things on your mind right now? And my time's up. Anyway, if you want to check out the quiz, and thank you so much for being here. Next person.
No, not next person. We get to open it up for questions.
Oh,
Good
yes.
job policing yourself so that I don't have to be rude. I appreciate that a lot. Wow. Let's start off the chat. We've got about 2 minutes to have your questions answered live, if you would prefer. And I'm going to start it off. I have a question.
Great.
Of your 22 income streams, I mean, first of all, I find that a little unfathomable. I don't have nearly 22. Which one do you think might be the most surprising to us, or maybe the most unconventional?
Ooh, most unconventional. Okay. Most unconventional. Most unconventional. I mean, unconventional. I don't know if I can.
What is
Throw
surprising?
me off. One of the things that I think people think about, they're like 22 income streams. I didn't even realize I had that many until I wrote them all down for my publisher, to be very honest with you. No one needs that many. 2 to 6 are fantastic. Um, There are some that are really passive and there's some that are very active, right? I have startup clients that pay me, for example. So that's an income stream. But I have what's called a high yield savings account. If people don't have one of those yet, please check it out. Um, I keep my emergency fund in SoFi's high yield savings account, and they pay me 3.8% to keep my money in there. They pay me hundreds of dollars per month so that I just leave my money sitting there. I think that's fantastic. You know how much like DoorDash, like sushi I can get for hundreds of dollars? So that is one of I mean, I write them all out. I think one of the things that's really important to me is I've learned more and more. I've closed 6-figure contracts, 7-figure contracts now. I've learned from my mentors. And one of my goals is that I don't want to gatekeep that for other folks. So I share very, very blatantly. My aunt was like, "You're not going to publish this, are you?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I am." She's like, "This is scary." I was like, "There's a disclaimer." So if you wouldn't mind going back one slide, just a sec, if people have about the book, now that I ask you to advance slides, go back slides. Oh, um, yes, but just I don't have, yeah, that would be my answer on the finances stuff. I will also put my team has a Your AI Roadmap money tools. Money tools. Other questions?
There is a question from Carla at the chat. She is asking, I have friends who works for companies without paid AI access. Any suggestions on how to join a relevant, timely project to keep up skilling in AI?
Oh, what a great question. Well, fantastic idea to keep upskilling in AI. This will help you future-proof your career. I completely understand and agree. A community that helps you keep up with AI? I dig that. Carla, what an excellent question. I mean, I follow Deep Learning AI, their stuff, and Hugging Face has recently deployed an agentic course that's for free. Coming to events like this one, doing your side projects with friends. Yeah, I was going to say this community, you're literally here. But I think one thing I think I will highlight that I just heard that's fantastic, instead of just hearing about it in the news, there's another thing to actually play with these tools, see if they work for your use cases and like document projects will keep you employed and learning and happy for a long time. Yes.
Well, thank you. It seems like there's some comments that you're going to want to look at, Dr. Joan, in the chat, and there's some questions coming in through the chat as well as the Q&A. So let's move on to our next speaker and go ahead and monitor those. You will have a lovely day after reading them. Okay, without further ado, let us welcome our next speaker, Tarja Stevens, a strategic AI advisor and someone after my own heart. She said something about non-technical being accepted in AI. So come on.
Thank you. Thank you. And hello, everyone. Well, first, I would like to thank everyone, and especially Jenny and Varun, for bringing us together today. It is so exciting to see this amazing global community here to celebrating this launch. So thank you. Well, for those who don't know me, my name is Tarja Stevens. Name comes from Finland, but I am based here in Miami. So have a great evening here. And today I would like to share some key insights from the conversations I have had with executives, with leaders who are navigating right now AI transformation. And I actually want to focus something that is very close to my heart, and that is how AI is actually reshaping leadership itself. So for the next 5 minutes, I'm going to be sharing with you three key points that I have learned and really want to share it and open the conversation. Number one, the future is here, and it is time for leaders to build new foundations. Now, what do I mean by that? I see that AI transformation this year, 2025, requires us to reimagine entirely new organizational structures. And I see there's an urgent need with CEOs, executives, and they're rethinking how their teams operate. What are the organizational design, operating models? And really at the core, what we are seeing is that reinventing entirely how organization functions. So what does this mean is really shifting the focus from being technology driven to investing more in people when we talk about AI. And this shift actually the leaders must have quite a lot of courage and trust to be able to what I call this workforce transformation. And there is also one key that I want to kind of lead us to this conversation is that to build these entirely new foundations, we need new ways of leading. So this means that the leaders themselves must also evolve. And this brings me to number two. Now, unlocking our human advantage, it becomes the superpower of the future. All right, this is interesting because what I believe that to lead in the future, we need to master the qualities that makes us uniquely human. And we have talked about it quite a lot now, that which is exciting, that the shift to more human-centric leadership models, and we really start defining and understanding our own human qualities that can never be replaced. And I'm now thinking that you can ask Tarja, okay, give me examples. What are these human qualities? I want to know about them. So let me give you a couple examples. They could be, for example, recognizing our own energy what we bring to these meetings. It could be trusting our intuition, that gut feeling. I'm sure all of us have had when you have that information, you have that data in front of you, and still something seems off. And what I believe these human qualities are absolutely being fully present for your team members, listening with compassion, ability to bring this hope and trust that we hear in everyday work. So that's what I mean by human qualities. And I truly believe that right now they have been overlooked from many of us, me included. And absolutely, they are ready for us, waiting to be activated and can practice these. So that's my number two, is that these human qualities and inner skills, like I like to say, will become our superpowers. Now, let me move to number three. And this is a butterfly effect. Small action lead to big impact. Now, those who know me on this call, I am absolutely passionate butterfly fan. Yes, over the past years, I actually have raised and released more than 300 monarch butterflies from my backyard. My friends call me Chief Butterfly Officer, and yes, I'm actually super proud of that title. So each time, actually, when I watch these beautiful butterflies being born, I'm just so amazed by the nature's wisdom and what we can learn from it. So my third and final point that I want to share is a butterfly effect. That means that where a small act of kindness or a few words of encouragement today, they can have such an incredibly big impact far beyond that we can even see. So let me leave you with this. We are on this call pioneers. We are the first movers. We are the change makers. We are shaping the future and every action and decision we make. And AI will amplify this impact. So let's make sure our choices today, what we create, is very powerful and positive ripple effect for the future and not the other way around. So these are my 3 points I wanted to share. If any of these resonate, I know I'm now 5 minutes, so I am so excited to actually share that if you want to continue the conversations, I am launching my own book this summer, and that is Lead Within: 8 Lessons to Unlock the Human Advantage. I hope this really shares a deeper conversations about leadership, inspire us to lead compassion and trust and hope in this increasingly uncertain times. So please connect with me. I'm so excited to be on this journey with you and continue this conversation. So Summer, back to you.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. First of all, your slides are beautiful. And second, I know I am not the only person in this room who thinks that leadership needed to be transformed. I am here for this. So
I love it.
let's
All right.
see. We've got a couple minutes for questions. Are there any questions in the Q&A for Tarja? There's a lot of comments and positive vibes in the chat. Oh, there's a lot of pre-order questions. Do you have a pre-order date for your book?
Well,
You're already
listen.
selling copies today.
I love it. Oh my goodness, thank you. And to be honest, I was not planning to share this yet because I haven't even, shared the cover, but this was just a beautiful moment with this beautiful community. So let's put it this way. Within next month of March, I'm able to have the pre-order link and kind of give you more details. And I would love to then, from that next month, to be driving the conversation. What are the new ways of leading and what is our human advantage? Let's start this as a really conversation. And I like to talk the hard skills, the human skills. Let's put a third one, inner skills. And those are something that it's in us that we just need to unlock and really kind of, like I mentioned, they are overlooked. So I'm excited about it. And these 8 lessons actually come from my personal leadership journey. I'm opening up very vulnerable moments of my 20, 30-year career and ups and downs. So I hope this resonates many of the leaders. And so it's an honor to share my journey.
Wonderful. We have a good question in the chat. You spoke about humanistic AI. What are your views on intentionality in AI, especially generative AI? Great question, by the way.
Great, absolutely great question. Let me tell you, we just had last week in Miami AI Club hosted AGI. So they're doing a series of AGIs already. And I was honored to moderate the first panel. And to be honest, it was like so enlightening because, excuse me, everybody sees it differently. So what I give away is that the views of AGI and the human centric, the biggest thing is being authentic. And I think that's the things that when I wrote the book is like, who we are, what is our voice. Yes, there is a lot of recordings, but like right now, we can still give energy and very much for all of us here, even though we're virtually, because the stories we give, experiences we have. So I think those are something that will be related to any leadership model.
I love it. Authenticity is key in leadership. Thank you for that. Continue to monitor the chat. There's lots of positive vibes in there and some extra questions coming in. Without further ado, let's move on to the next speaker. Emin Clark, human-centered AI founder and CEO of Prickly Pear, and she is here to tell us about how AI can help with health. Take it away.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Summer. And also thank you so much, Daria, because it was an amazing way to drive to what we are doing as we started talking about intentionality and human-centered AI. And I think this is an amazing opportunity and an amazing observation when we have women leaders talking about AI. Look, we did not even just talk about the usability and the design and the capability technologically, but we spoke about how it thrives and how it scales in a good way for populations. And I love that. And that's why cheers to more leaders and cheers to Jenny and Rayut for giving us this space to elevate one another and as a result, the whole community. But yeah, as Summer mentioned, my passion is human-centered products in general. And right now, human-centered AI, as it is the bread and butter of what we do in our mission to championing women's brain health. And to be honest, as a founder and a technical person who fell in love with a lot of the emerging technologies and decided to choose my path in tech for good, I don't believe that the world needs more products. The world really needs more well-designed products. And I hope that the one that I will be providing today is a product for women, for our mental clarity, emotional well-being, and cognitive resilience could stand for that. Can we do the next slide, Rayut, please? So a little background story about me and what it was like that I am a second-time founder, previously co-founded a motion capture technology company that turns body movement to music and collects data for neurologists. That allowed me to see from close these brain health crises that we have internationally, but also in the US. And not to scare you, 70% of the Alzheimer population are women. Women are twice as likely to be diagnosed with depression and anxiety, and also 3 to 4 more times to be with migraines. And unfortunately, the lack of evidence of why these specific conditions tend to affect women disproportionately is still an answer that we are trying to cover. And that's why we come here. And we know that women at the same time are going through so many different challenges, socioeconomic, family roles, career roles right now. Can we go to the second slide? But what we do know is that particularly today, as you saw Halle Berry and so many people championing and talking finally about end of reproductive years and the menopausal transition, although at Prickly Pear, what we bring the attention to is that we are here to talk about beyond ovarian function changes and cycle changes, the taboos that we don't talk about, the brain changes that are more than 60% of women that are currently in the menopausal transition are experiencing brain fog, memory lapses, mental fatigue, etc., that we are not understanding why is that happening. Although correlation in research has been showing us that the loss of estrogen during the menopausal transition contributes highly to an increased risk of Alzheimer's disease in women. And can we go to the next slide, please? So that's why we created Prickly Pear. It is an inspired concept to become a next generation digital health solution for personalized brain health. It uses voice AI and wearable technology to be able to aggregate and provide data that takes into consideration the hormonal fluctuations impact on the brain, bridging that gap. It uses behavioral design from behavioral science and methodologies and AI-driven personalization, because without AI, we cannot do this now anymore. And it tailors interventions for individualized needs for mental clarity, emotional well-being, and cognitive resilience, as I already mentioned. Next slide, please. And why it's called prickly pear, it's inspired by a concept of joyful resilience that I noticed when I moved to Arizona. And prickly pear is the fruit that comes from the standing cactus, a resilient tree that stands in 120 Fahrenheit degree, and yet it gives a juicy fruit. And while Steve Jobs was able to build an apple, I decided that the representation for a brand that celebrates the diverse experiences of women navigating those hard transitions with empowerment, authenticity, and joy could be called prickly pear. So we already raised funds for our pre-seed. We are building an amazing team and an amazing technology. And today I wanted to take this opportunity to be able to launch our Slack community in Women X AI global launch event. So please, Ryut, go to the next slide. And this is an open invitation from me to all of you to join our Slack community. And what does that mean is you will be able to have access to our closed beta, contribute your thoughts and opinions, test and tell the founders and the team really what you would like and what would you not like. But also we have a channel that is called Vent and Validate, and all of us are welcome to talk about it there. I cannot wait to see you join us in this mission, and thank you truly for your time.
Oh, Summer,
And
you're
back to
muted.
Summer.
Yeah.
And back to Summer.
I was muted. That's fabulous. Non-techie here. First of all, as a migraine sufferer, I thank you very much for your work. You are getting a ton of accolades in the chat. I'm trying to see if there are any specific questions, perhaps an opportunity to collaborate. You're getting a ton of love in the chat.
Happily.
Hannah?
I would love to see it. It's been a lot of work, a lot of support. I see so many people in the chat who attended our event at JPM, the Women's Health Tech Walk that Jenny has extremely supported. And I'm truly honored to be part of this and to see where we take the product, because I don't believe that alone we could do this. And I think that this is the secret to building a real next generation digital health solution that solves real problems. So thank you
Yes.
for the platform again.
You are getting some questions about data and some technical things. Let's go ahead and answer those in the chat, and we'll move on to the next speaker. But please, Amen, go look at the chat. It'll make you feel fabulous, and then you can help people out. Okay, without further ado, let's bring on Liberty White, founder and CEO of She Learns AI, and an all-around fabulous person.
Aw, thank
Do
you
your thing.
so much, Summer. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. And I am Jenny. Thank you. And Ryut, thank you so much. I'm a telestrator person. So I was like, I'm bringing it out. And many of us have been the only in the room. You know, we've been the only woman, the only person in tech, the only Black, Hispanic, Asian person of color. So we all know what that is like. But I wanna flip the script on what we look at when we think about the iceberg. Because right now we actually had our day of innovation yesterday for women in AI futures. And according to the World Economic Forum, right here, this is where if you're on this right now, this Women X AI session, you're part of that 22%, the 22% of women that are in AI professionally. Even if you say you're not techie, if you're using the tools, I'm lumping you in this 22%. And what we need to remember is in order for us to get down and get underneath, there is and it's funny that Iman said this because we didn't talk about our sessions, but what I've been finding in doing Women in AI Futures is that collaboration is the new currency. So she just literally said that in her presentation, that there's no way that she could be doing what she's doing with Prickly Pear. And that's the same way that I look at what we're doing with Women in AI Futures, because I came up with the idea, it was last year, but it took connecting with other women in AI, other women who are doing things to then get to this point where it's like, oh my, we're like now 19 days away. And what I'm hoping that you'll get out of, while this is not as much a technical conversation, but going back to the human-centered part of technology and building something and dreaming, like we all have dreams and hopes, and kind of like Doctor said earlier, the 22 streams of income. I now am aspiring to get to those 22, that 22 stream of income. But why is collaboration part of this new currency? If we look at, we're at that top part of the iceberg, but in order to get to this, just underneath the surface, this is where communities like Women X AI are involved. She learns AI, because some people in the chat were like, how do I continue to learn? You've got to be in community where you'll then find, you'll find mentors, you'll find peers, you'll find opportunities to travel overseas. So we're coming to see you, Tarisha, overseas, at your book launch. Those connections and those relationships come beneath the surface, and how important that is. And then I'm also watching time too, and that without these unseen support systems that happen underneath. And that's why, as we're building out this week, you this is being recorded, but I'm going to be very transparent and authentic in this. When I spoke to different leaders, they all said, well, what you're doing is, that is a whole week of programming. And thankfully, I called on the aces. Anne Marie is in the chat, and she's pulling together our digital programming. It's like, you got to now think the who, not how. For those of you who have ever read that book, don't focus on the how of the thing that you're working on, but the who. And so we're that 22%, and we don't want to only be the 22%. Men, that's 78% of men are in AI and from a professional scale. So we are trying to get down here. We're trying to bring all of our sisters and our girlfriends and our moms and our grands. We're trying to bring them up. And in order to, and now my face is also like, yeah. Teacher mode. In order for us to get to that place, AI is moving so fast we can't do it on our own. So even if from a practical perspective that we think through that, that's part of why collaboration is going to get us to the bag, as the young kids say, get us to the bag and the bank and the 22 the 22 income streams. So, and as I round this out with my 43 seconds, is that in order for us to build the future that we're dreaming of and we're looking for, that comes with us. We can't build it alone. And so, Women in AI, if we can go to that slide, my apologies, that last slide. Women in AI Futures is taking place March 17th through the 21st. We've got 2 days of programming that's online. So the virtual community, this is a big old invitation to come and hang out with us there. And then if you're in Atlanta or in the area nearby, come and join us in person for the remainder of the week, because that's where, yes, you will find community. We're saying we want you to have an AI bestie. So find a tool or a strategy or some system to help you, but then also make friends with someone in AI. So I am Liberty White. She learns AI. Come and join us at Women in AI Futures. Thank you.
Awesome. I love it. And I think it's important to note that all those 78% of men did not get where they are without collaborating with each other.
So true. Yes.
They have the good old boys club and we have the good old girls club. And I feel like you just did a commercial also for Women X AI.
Yes.
Let's see. So you are getting a ton of love in the chat.
Thank
so
you.
Go in there when you're done. There is a question about what steps can we do today to get involved from Danielle. So Appreciate that.
Oh, sure. By going to the website, there is a speaker if you want to speak or demo, you want to share. I always say liking, sharing, commenting, that helps the algorithm, help us. Jenny and Rayu do a fantastic, this whole community does a fantastic job of doing that. So I would say that is like the easiest, lowest hanging fruit is that, not a prickly pear, but just regular fruit. So.
Nice pun game there. Okay, let's see. Are there any opportunities to volunteer for your event?
There are definitely opportunities. So feel free. I don't think we have that up on the site. Oh, yeah, no, the same form for speakers. It also shares just all the opportunities that you have to contribute and to collaborate. And if you know anyone that even has AI product or tool to demo, we're looking for that too, because we have a marketplace where we really want to highlight people who are actually also building as well. So thank y'all.
Love it. Love it. Thank you. Okay. There's extra questions and love in the chat, but we are going to move on to our next speaker. Alejandra Acosta, AI and EdTech strategist. I like to think that we all know someone in between pre-K and their PhD, so EdTech is important to literally everybody. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Summer, and thank you, everyone. It's been such a pleasure to be here. I've already learned so much from other folks, so I'm hoping that you get to learn from me as well. I've been able to work in many different parts of education, from philanthropy to policy and research, direct service, working directly with students, and most recently, I've been able to build bridges between higher ed and EdTech, but specifically higher ed and AI. So I have learned a lot from that space, and I'm happy to be sharing that with you today. EdTech can be a little bit niche, but I do think that the broader AI community can definitely learn from it. So here are 3 things that EdTech can teach us about AI. And can we go to the next slide? Perfect, thank you. The first lesson that we can learn, next slide, is finding our purpose. So I heard a really great thing that we don't need more products, we need more products built with well-designed products. And I want to say that similarly, we need more products that have purpose. So finding our purpose is an important lesson here. If you've ever worked with an educator, and especially a teacher, you know that they're really good at a lot of things. But one of the things that they're really good at is identifying BS. And we don't want that in EdTech. We don't want that in AI. The EdTech sector can be a little skeptical about tech solutions or AI, but I think that there's lessons to learn from that. And that skepticism is there because education is just an incredibly human experience, especially teaching. So that's part of where this doubt comes from. A tech solution has to be really, really purposeful and super well integrated into the human experience of education for educators to adopt it enthusiastically. So what does that mean for AI broadly? That means that we need to find our purpose. We need to build with purpose. If we're building something, make sure that it has a purpose that really makes our life better. And even as users, if we're not building something, we need to ask ourselves what our purpose and what our goals are when using an AI tool. Just slapping AI on a solution isn't going to work anymore. It doesn't necessarily increase efficiency or effectiveness or guarantee longevity as a business. And folks are getting more and more educated about AI. They know and they can feel what a quality AI product or solution is. And using AI without purpose can also take away from our human experiences instead of adding to them. So a lesson from EdTech is to be purposeful about how we build and use AI so that it fits into our lives seamlessly. And then also, hopefully, our teachers don't call us out on our BS. The second thing, next slide, the second thing that we can learn from EdTech is the importance of empowering people with foundational skills. This is something that I've learned from my experience in EdTech. In my work, I've seen that schools and colleges are super excited to join the AI movement. I'm really happy about that, but they can find it challenging if they don't have the right foundations. There are a lot of policy and historic reasons for this that I can't get into right now. But again, an example from my own work is that many colleges that I worked with while I was at Discourse Analytics weren't able to take full advantage of the solution that we had because they didn't have key data and tech foundations with them. They didn't have clean data warehouses where we could easily pull data from. And so the solution that we had just couldn't be used to its full advantage. Many of these schools, I'll add, were colleges that served lower income and more marginalized students. So because colleges didn't have strong foundations, they weren't able to take full advantage of AI. So how does that connect to us here? I know that this amazing group of people here are going to invest time in bringing women and other represented groups to the AI wave and not get left out. As we do that, I think we need to also help people gain key foundational skills so that they can use AI to their full potential and meet their own potential too. So that's skills like having data basics, a conceptual understanding of how algorithms work, having a good critical understanding of media, creativity, interdisciplinary thinking skills. These are all foundational skills that are going to help people use AI better, more effectively, reduce the potentially getting taken advantage of, and they get to reach their full potential too. The third and last thing, at least for now, because there's a lot of lessons from EdTech that we can take. The third lesson is to move with intention. EdTech is a little different from other tech industries. In tech, you can build and undo and redo really, really quickly, but you can't quite do that in EdTech. And that's because your users aren't just consumers, they're people, they're students. And your losses aren't just financial, they affect people's education, their career, and therefore their lives. The stakes are high in EdTech. And so EdTech has to move a little more slowly, or as I prefer to call it, more intentionally. So this is where building products that are better, well-designed comes in, is that our community can also move intentionally. Even though this world moves super fast, moving intentionally doesn't mean moving slowly. It just means moving thoughtfully with purpose and with care so that we can build and create a world that we really want to be a part of. So those are the things that I've learned from EdTech. I hope they're helpful for you. My call to action for you really is to learn from other sectors, from other industries that may not seem like they're related to what you do, but they probably have some good lessons for you to learn that could help make your work and your life better. Thanks so much for the time. Would be happy to connect with folks on LinkedIn. If you happen to be in EdTech, I'm going to be at the AI show by ASU GSV in April. So would love to connect and see how our worlds collide.
Wonderful. Thank
Yes,
you for that.
thank you.
Very inspiring. Perhaps because I have a school-age child at home, but oh boy, education, you are shaping the leaders of tomorrow. You are also getting a lot of collaboration and connection requests in the chat. The chat is loving you. Are there any questions? If there's only good vibes, that's all good too. I will see. We have an extra Q&A in the end of the event. So we could open it up for questions. Yeah, you're getting lots of love. Oh,
yeah, here for the good vibes. And if folks want to ask a question, maybe more on a one-on-one basis, happy to do that too. What types
of EdTech products would you like to see created in the next few years?
Great question. What would I like to see created in the next few years? Actually, I still am a college advisor. So to me, part of what is a huge obstacle in education is just navigating the system. And that takes away from the experience of learning in your class and outside of class. So I really like to see products that help people navigate the system. Along with that, it would be awesome to see actual system change to have the system be easier to navigate. But I always love products that are kind of like a buddy or products that help you navigate the system so that you don't have to worry about like what resources exist or what am I supposed to do this year. You can just go and learn. So I'd love to see something like that.
I love that. Super helpful for people who don't come from a family where everyone is a college graduate. If you're the first one in your family, that's great. How do we prepare elementary school students for AI in the future? Fantastic.
That's such a good question. I gotta say my expertise is in higher education, so I'm not an early ed expert, but I think something that I would like to see is building some of those soft or durable skills for kids, like understanding like what is a quality source to get my information from, what is a quality source of media, how do I think about what I'm consuming critically. I think building those types of skills is going to be really useful. The technology is going to keep changing, but being able to think critically and creatively, that is never going to change.
Wonderful. Thank you. You're getting some extra questions in the chat. We don't have time to answer them live, so hop in the chat, feel your good vibes, and let's move on to our next speaker. I'm in such a distinguished room. Dr. Jessica Gold, founder and CCO of Digital Wisdom. Welcome.
Hello everyone. Thank you all for being here. I promise this is going to be exciting as we round this out. And I'm so inspired by all the women who have spoken so far. I'm really grateful to be here. So, to dive in, one Saturday afternoon, about 14 years ago, I was standing in chemistry lab in my white coat, pipetting a radioactive substance in 96 well plates in triplicate. It's okay if you don't know what that means. Just know it was kind of a drudgery sort of pipetting situation. And all of a sudden, I heard something. I heard it sounded like the voice of my heart knocking on the door of my consciousness. And I was petrified because, number one, I didn't believe in things like the voice of my heart knocking on the door of my consciousness at that time in my life. And also, I knew that what it said was right. And what it said was, you're not supposed to be doing this anymore. And I did not want to believe it. But I had a question. I said, well, if I'm not supposed to be doing this anymore, what am I supposed to be doing? And of course, there was no answer yet. But I knew it was right because for as long as I could remember, I had been trying to logic my way through life, which resulted in chronic fatigue, overwhelming social anxiety, and stressful relationships. In fact, my marriage was crumbling. So I finished my postdoc because I'm very stubborn, but then I left. I left my career and I went on a journey to say yes to what scared me. Now, long story short, because it was very wild, I tell some of the story in my TEDx talk, which is called Chemistry for Your Sex-Starved Marriage. But long story short, I ended up spending 4 years living in spiritual communities in Asia, where I studied all of the things that would have been really helpful to know before my divorce. So I finally got the education I needed in things like personal development, sacred sexuality, psychology, non-dual philosophy, all of the yummy things, meditation. And I was furious that I had never had a single class in my entire scientific career in how to be a healthy human or how to have healthy relationships. So, after over 4 years of studying and embodying this new way of being, it lit a fire under me to bring this work to more people. So, I founded my first company called Bliss Science, which I dedicated to teaching other people in science and STEM and tech fields. Because I realized that all of us who are in STEM, we probably never had a single class that wasn't a science class, a single class in how to have healthy relationships. In fact, we prioritize logic and poo-pooed the body or emotions or any of that weak, non-linear, non-logical stuff. So I've dedicated my work with Bliss Science for the past near decade to helping left-brained people, mostly men in tech and couples, have passionate relationships. And I've worked with over 500 men and couples in that time. Now, I was and still am incredibly devoted to bringing this wisdom to the world through my work with Bliss Science And recently I founded a new company, my second company called Digital Wisdom, because I love technology. And when I saw AI come on board, I was so excited to use this technology to help other wisdom holders, other transformational healers, coaches, educators to have a bigger impact. I wanted to see this tech used for good instead of seeing the wellness industry or the world's healers and wisdom holders passed by technology they didn't understand. So we've founded Digital Wisdom to help people in those fields increase their income, scale their impact, and free up their time. And we have four products, two of which you can use right now. One of the products that is available, it is a beta version, but it's live in the Apple Store. You can download her. She's called Jessica Gold AI. She's me with all of my wisdom and teachings from the past 10 years. You can ask her any question you have about your relationship, intimacy, or dating. And I'm in your pocket 24/7 to answer your questions. Our other product is a website concierge that you can go to try.digitalwisdom.ai, and it's free. You'll be put on the wait list, but you can put it on any website. It doesn't matter if you're in wellness or coaching or not. You can go there right now, get on the wait list for our website concierge, and it will tell you what's in your potential clients' heads when they come to your website. It will help you sell them your products right away and tell them all about who you are and what you're passionate about without them ever having to read your website. And that's just the tip of the iceberg of what we're offering. So thank you all for being here and being part of this and for listening. And I'm thrilled to answer any questions.
Wow. That is an amazing origin story. Thank you for sharing it.
You're welcome.
And what I hear is there's a free tool that helps us get inside the head of the customer. I'm a
Yes.
big voice of the customer person, so that sounds really cool. I'm going to
And
try
I'm
that
putting
out.
the link in chat right now.
Very cool.
So go there if you want to sign up for our website concierge. There's a wait list right now, but we're giving it for free to everyone as fast as we can. We're a small team. And then here's the link to my TEDx talk. If you know anyone who could benefit from some chemistry, because like what I like to say is today I work in a different kind of chemistry than the chemistry I studied for my PhD.
Oh, that is clever. Okay, we do have a question. Curious to hear if you spent time studying the impact on relationships and communication that can be achieved through using AI chatbots, and or is there any proven correlation?
Mm. Well, we know we've had millions of users uptake AI chatbots. We haven't done those studies yet, but what I do know is that one of the reasons I'm passionate about digital wisdom is we are bringing personalized AI to you. So when I want help with something, I don't want to talk to some random chatbot that's a generic thing. I want to know who is behind it. Where did they study? Where did they get their information from? I'm not interested in this generic trend. So at Digital Wisdom, we are setting you up with specific AI tools that really represent your mission, your values, and who you are, so that when your clients open it up, they know, like, and trust you.
Very cool. Transparency is big. There's not enough of that. Let's see. We're getting more votes for transparency. Good one. Okay. The chat is alive. Let's see. So we have some good news. The chat is alive with all sorts of good vibes and lots of questions, and we knew we weren't going to get to all of them. So our hosts have allowed us all to stick around for an extra 10 to 15 minutes to sit in community and learn from one another for just a little bit longer. We thank you all for being so active. And
Before we do more Q&A,
I
perfect.
was
Thank
going to
you,
ask.
Rayu.
Perfect.
All right. So the folks over at a company called Acorn X AI reached out and they said, hey, we're doing something for Women's History Month. I said, okay, I like books. I like Women's History Month. What's up? And they're actually doing a content series about women who have written books and they'll be featuring them. and they have an app that summarizes books for you. And they actually use Notebook LM for the summary. So it's pretty cool use of AI. And they're giving it to our community for free. So if you scan the QR code or just download the Acorn book app, on your phone. You can type this code in and we'll send it out via email after so you can access it. But you can get a free month of listening to books. And they have The Worlds I See by Dr. Fei Fei Li on there. So when they told me that, I was like, let's go. So definitely check it out. All right, next slide. And over to Rayu.
Yeah, and I want to open the door to everybody to join our Women XAI membership. It's free. I know it sounds like it's paid, but it's free for everyone. And basically what we're doing here, we have 3 tiers that you can join into and find your network and advance your career according to your skill set. And we are here to help you develop from one tier to another and help you skill up and give you the tools that you need in your AI journey and to support you. We have the change makers, which is emerging professionals exploring AI. So if you just like exploring and trying to, play with AI, we're here for you on that tier. And disruptors, experienced professional driving AI innovation. And of course, the titans, the thought leaders that shaping the AI revolution. You can scan the QR code and join whichever tier you think fits for your skill set. And we'll be happy to support you in your AI journey.
Okay, and here's that Q&A we were promising.
Yes, go for it.
You can ask in the Q&A tab. You can ask in the chat. I'm going to monitor both. Oh boy, it's coming in fast. Let's see. We've got someone asking about how they can get that app again, and I'm wondering which app. Is it the book app? Maybe. There we go. Thank you. Someone's hopping on that. I need help. Yes, the book app, please. There we go. Could we possibly go back to that slide? Whoop. So close. Yes. Okay. There you go. Yes, we're getting thank yous now. Awesome. Okay. So if you had a question inside your head, I spent a little bit of time as an educator. There's no such thing as dumb questions. Ask your question away. Our generous panelists will answer. And if you have it up in your head, somebody else probably has it up in their head. Oh, we're getting hostesses. When is the next event? I think we all want to know that.
Joan, that's a hard question. I don't know. Do people like the webinar? Should we do this again? We don't have another one planned, but we had great attendance. So if you want another webinar, how about a thumbs up in a chat and we can decide when that'll be. We do have a virtual event coming up soon, or no, in person.
In person.
Sorry, Summer, my apologies.
Mhm.
Ray, why don't you talk about it since I've clearly forgotten the dates?
Absolutely. So we have an in-person event coming out in March 22nd, I believe. Or yeah, I believe I've looked on the date as well. But if you can join us on our Women XAI website and our LinkedIn, we're promoting that as well, where we are going to explore fundraising around AI and what's the secrets behind it and what to expect when you're trying to fundraise for your initiative. So stay tuned. And we're happy to share some more information when that's coming up.
Wonderful. And then there's always the asynchronous event on Saturdays. If you have not joined for AI Social Saturday, it is always a mix of fun and niceness and AI tools and people sharing their workflows.
How do we participate, Summer?
You follow Women XAI on LinkedIn, and then you get a notification when you're having your coffee if you're on the West Coast, or when you're having dinner if you're in Europe. Yes, we love the Saturdays. It's so fun.
I'll be honest, I sit and watch House Hunters and then talk to all of you and just answer all the questions and have so much fun. And honestly, that's where I get all of my AI news and tools. So thank you, all of you, for sharing your expertise with us every single Saturday.
Indeed, I have learned about so many tools,
I
so
saw
many
someone
hacks.
mention, I think Joan mentioned the breakouts. That's what I was thinking too. I was like, oh, that might be kind of cool to have something central. And then it's like, okay, kind of like at the last one. So the one that I was at, the Google Huddle that you all hosted. So I did make an in-person one, and then you broke off into different sections of the room. Well, different sections of Zoom. So that might be something. It will take some volunteer effort. So go fill out the membership form. I'm doing that right now. So yes.
Liberty, I had a question for you. What
Yes.
kind of help and support and volunteering do you need? Like, tell us the specifics. The event's around the corner. How many
Yes.
days and what do you need?
So we're 19 days away. We do have some fabulous people on social, so you're gonna just see your feed proliferated with all of the things. I would say collaboration is a big one. So I mentioned anyone who might have a tool, or even and Anne-Marie's in the chat. So Anne-Marie, I'm like saying this too. For the virtual, anyone who has some kind of like really tactical skill, because we want this to be really practical. So there's an opportunity on one of those 2 days potentially. So having someone who could demo something, that would be great and interesting, because we really are building it as like this is your foundation, AI wise. And then of course partners, collaborators. So anyone that I think, oh, I forgot what Wayne's company that he's working at, but yes, we're looking for partners to fund scholarships. Yeah, funding scholarships, or having some women that just like, hey, we want to buy a couple of passes for some women to go, because we want to make it as accessible as possible. So those are 3 ways that we can use some support. Thanks for asking.
We've got a couple minutes if you want to ask a
Yeah.
question. I do see two in the Q&A. I will read one from Tara. Tara Bateman. All right, I'm an AI generalist in nature, but really enjoy Gen AI image generation. Even with that, there's lots of tools in the marketplace. So, Tara, please correct me if there's more of a question in here, or maybe you're just asking for what are some of the favorite tools for Gen AI images. We can start there.
Well, DALL-E knows how to draw hands now, so it's a nice, easy, very accessible image generator now that people don't have 6 fingers.
Nice. So happy to hear that.
I'd also say if people haven't tried Pika yet,
Ooh,
it's extremely powerful. And 2 female founders. No problem with that.
love it.
That's
So
amazing. I love a two female founder team.
Just want to say my LinkedIn is blowing up with connection requests from everyone. So thank you, everyone.
wonderful. You know, while we're on the topic of thanking people, I want to thank some of the men in the community. We can't do this alone. And Malcolm specifically has been very helpful today, helping us monitor the chat there in the background. And Luis, I see in the chat as well, always a great collaborator and supportive person. It's wonderful to have those heroes who are brave enough to show up in a group of all women. We love you
I'm
guys.
I'm gonna have to jump, everyone, but thank you all so, so much. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Jessica.
Quick shout out to Luis, who actually did an intro for us, right? I haven't even told you yet, but he introduced us to Latinas in Tech organization, and hopefully we'll be able to do some collab with them. They're out by us in the valley, so we'll see what we can do. But thank you, Luis. We really appreciate you.
Thank you, Luis. You're amazing. Thank you for the intro and all your help.
Well, if I could just throw out also people's questions about tooling, it almost sounds like there's an opportunity for tooling or portfolio creation type breakouts. I'm just gonna verbalize that.
Okay. So we have let's see, from Tara again in the Q&A. How do you decide which AI tools to just try and which AI tools to dive into? Wow, that is an excellent question. Who wants to field that one?
I can jump on that one because I saw Cynthia in the chat. We were actually on a session earlier this week where people, Cynthia Respert, and they asked, there's just so much. And the way we broke it down is just really thinking about that problem. I think Joan might have mentioned that. Someone mentioned it earlier of like, being the practical side of it. So if there's something like, say you've got a presentation and then searching maybe for some of those tools to help you do that so that it goes beyond just being, okay, there's these tools to, okay, I've researched, I've used Perplexity to find out what tools to help me to do a presentation. And then I saw Gamma. And so if you can find some practical use cases around that, that will help you. And then there are so many people in the community and online that do reviews. So then when you start hearing flux and people keep talking about flux, like, oh, okay, maybe I should try it or at least do some research around it. So that could be a great way to just think through that process for you.
Yeah, I'll just chime in that I do competitive analysis for companies and myself, but figure out what you want and just, I love Liberty, exactly what you're saying. I even ask Perplexity, what is the AI tool you'd recommend for this? And it pops out 3 I know and a few more I didn't. So it can be overwhelming. It can be very annoying. But I think the only way to know fully is to actually try it. Like I tried early gamma and I was not happy. So if it's gotten better, you let me know. But anyway.
I want to ask a similar question to Imen actually. As a founder, when you're building AI products, how do you decide what's the right fit for you and what you're building?
I think it's like when you're looking at building any product in the beginning, it looks like a huge mountain or like a huge donut. And then the way how to eat it is one bite at a time. And then what does that literally mean is like you think about what people need first and then you involve them through that process. And then there are methodologies of when you try to diverge versus when you try to converge. And then of course there are things about like trade-offs, like what can I use today that is really helpful versus what can I do for scale so I don't have to change this decision midway. And I think like it's basically really trade-offs of like what can I deliver right now while maintaining the vision, and how can I trust the people who are really gonna need this to guide me to do it. And I often, the last thing that I would say is like very often I think about it as the artist and the architect. The artist usually builds stuff that are a representation of how they feel versus the architect will build the house for you, how you exactly want it. And as entrepreneurs, I hope and I aspire to be the architect of solutions that help other people, not just my own vision. Of course, there will be always like an Imen feel in the product that you will see, and that's every founder's dream, like to be able to know that's a product you built without you saying it. But yeah, it's like, and I think you get to have like train that muscle of trusting versus your gut versus all of that. I hope this answers your question at least. Thank you.
I have a question for Alejandra, actually. Alejandra, as an edtech leader, what is the biggest challenge you're seeing in incorporating AI into your work stream?
Yeah, for me, incorporating it into my work has not been too much of a problem. So I was working in the private sector. I'm working on my own now. So not too many challenges there because I have a lot of freedom. But I'll change your question a little bit to what are some of the challenges that folks are facing in schools and in colleges. I think a lot of things. One is at least for teachers, lack of time. And this is pre-AI, like with any new solution, teachers just don't have time to learn how to use something new and can be really resistant because they don't have that time. So that's why I said like a solution has to be really well built and really well integrated into teaching to be adopted enthusiastically. Another challenge is kind of like finances. Schools just don't have a lot of money, and being on the kind of business development side, it's really hard to sell. You're kind of like the last little bit of auxiliary budget that folks have. So knowing how to invest in AI is also kind of an adoption challenge. And the last thing is, I think because educators and ed tech move a little more slowly and more intentionally. There's a lot of discussing about, is this safe for our students? How is our data going to be used and or protected or not? How do we change the work that we're doing, the workflow? There's a lot of conversations that happen to make sure that we're getting it right the first time, because there's not really a second chance. So those are some of the challenges that I've seen in the ed tech and education space broadly. That was a great question. Thank you, Ray.
Wonderful. Thank you. Well, we're at 15 minutes. We said we were going to go 10 to 15 minutes for extra Q&A. So we probably all have dinner to make or whatever. That's the fun of being a woman and a founder and a wife or a mom. Let's continue the conversation in LinkedIn and be each other's cheerleaders. I appreciate all of the interaction in the chat. It was a good group for this inaugural event. Thank you so much to our hostesses for getting us all together. And as a non-Bay Area resident, I definitely want more virtual stuff. So any passing comments, final comments from our hosts, or are we good to go today?
Round of applause for Summer. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Summer.
Thank
When
you,
we were
Summer. I
starting
was gonna
this,
say that.
it was like, wow, we're doing this event. Who do we want to moderate? And I think at the same time, Ray and I were like, Summer,
Summer.
please. So thank you.
Thank you. It was
And
my pleasure.
thank you to all of our speakers. I hope you have a great rest of your night and looking forward to doing this again sometime soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.